You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
U.S. Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why U.S. Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any new callers today, but by golly, we got Trucker Bob. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, we're supposed to do the second part of AA Ron, but I'm not positive that's right. Sorry. Trucker Bob, AA Ron, if you want to call back in, please do, because I can't quite remember. Trucker Bob, what's up?
Hey, Ryan. This is Trucker Bob here.
What's up,
Thought I'd
Bob?
call you back. Hopefully you're not mad at me after I ragged on you about the Bears.
I'll get over it.
Anyways, let's talk about the game. You know, I like looking at penalties and how they affect the game. And once again, the Packers were badly affected by penalties. Just to show you what happens, the Packers had the ball 11 times during the game. On 6 of those 11, they scored. Of the 5 times they had the ball with no penalties, they had 3 touchdowns. Of course, it was the end of the game and 1 field goal. So if you forget about the end of the game, which they only had a little time, they got down to scoring position 4 out of 5 times and scored 3 touchdowns. The 6 series in which they did have penalties, 1, the TD was called back. 3 times they punted. 1 time they had an interception, and they kicked 2 field goals. Basically what I'm saying, when Green Bay cleans up its offensive penalties, this team does very, very well.
Yep.
The fact that we had this many penalties and still scored 29 points is a major improvement over last year when we had games in which we would have half the plays or series had penalties and we wouldn't score. And when we did have the ball, sometimes we'd score or have a field goal, but we're sitting there at 10, 15 points a game. Now, this is such a major improvement over last year. Even though Jordan Love only completed 50% of his passes, we still scored 29 points. So, offensively, we did very, very well. Defensively, boy, there was some good stuff there, but still, it's going to take time. It just takes time. Anyways, that's my analysis of the game. We clean up the penalties. Our offense is great. Trucker Bob out.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that watched that game surely understands how devastating the penalties were. Obviously, anytime there are penalties, are always bad. Bottom line, right? The more penalties, the worse. But you're right. I mean, look, again, a lot of reason for optimism. And most of the optimism comes from the bad. Because you just don't expect a lot of this to continue. And that honestly is the hope for the Green Bay Packers, is the fact that when you look at what went wrong, you just go, bro, that ain't the Packers. Come on. Jordan's better than that. The field's not going to be that slippery. The frickin', what the heck? The penalties obviously are not going to be that bad all season. Some stuff might stay this way, right? There's a lot of question marks that you were hoping would be positive that maybe weren't positive, and maybe they just stay that way. But until we get a little stabilization, until we kind of see how things go, let's just see how things go.
Hey, Ryan, how you doing? This is Nico. I called a couple days before the game. I don't think it made it up. I actually was at a Creed concert during the game.
Okay.
I got these tickets like 7 months ago, and I remember when I got them, it's like, oh, it's beginning of September. That's about when football starts. It's Friday. Should be fine, right? Since when? Week 1 or 2 or 3. Has any team played on Friday? Well, apparently, this is maybe the first. I don't know. I think they said it happened another time. But of course, it would be my team. But anyways, and then I don't know if you've seen that meme where it says, my birthday, and it shows your messages, and you have 2 messages, and it says, the day my favorite football team loses, and you have 149 messages. That's kind of what happened with me.
Yeah.
It's like a badge of honor, because all of my, I know a lot of people, a lot of football fans, and a lot of non-Packer football fans. And we give each other crap all the time. I can dish it and take it, so I get it. But when I get out of the concert, it's like 11. I turn my phone off of airplane mode because I know it's going to be blown up, during the game. Just to call my wife, hey, come get me. And I see like 50 text messages go bloop. And the one that was the top was a buddy of mine who's a Bears fan who just says, hey, well, at least you guys kept it close on a stacked team. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I know we didn't win. Yay. But anyways, not even what I'm calling. I'm not worried. The prognosis come out 1 to 3 weeks. Same thing happened to Pat Mahomes. That's the first thing I thought of. His looked grosser, I thought. So I think we'll be fine. I was, like everyone had, a lot of people said there's a lot of good that happened. So I really am still optimistic. We'll clean some stuff up, and we should be good. But I tell you, this weekend, man, the Bears, oh my gosh. I watched them. I had to work because I was off so much the last couple of weeks. But, it was bad. I mean, and I just listened to your stat. You said we've had, 3 players in our history throw over that many, passes and that few of yards. That's epic. And I can't wait to watch him flounder. And he looks like if I could categorize him, because that's all we want to do, he would be like a less talented running Justin Fields with maybe better arm talent, If his pre-read abilities are about Justin Fields-esque, well, we know where this is going. We've seen this story plenty of times, right? It's going to go and to Bears fans hating life and hopping off the planet because they're dumb.
Part 2.
3-minute monster got me. So yeah, they're just, I'm to the point now where I'm almost feeling a little sorry for him.
Sure.
Because it's just fun to watch. But then I'm like, it's like teasing a 3.
I would feel sorry if they were like they used to be after we beat them in the NFC Championship game. From then all the way to Fields, they just lived in this state of humility. They were closer to, Lions fans before they got good. They're closer to where Vikings fans are now. Bears fans were just kind of there, and making fun of them was just kind of rude. Like, come on, dude. That's messed up. Why you got to pick on Bears fans? Then, since Fields got drafted, they lost their minds. They lost their damn minds. And I feel like it's just kind of pent up because they used to be like the thing with the Dallas Cowboys where every year is our year. That was the Bears. It was hilarious. It's like 2002 and they're like, bro, I think we're going to do it this year. And even then, like, they had good defenses. They had some Hall of Fame players, man. They had some guys that you respect the hell out of. But even then, it was kind of silly. Like, come on, bro. Really? You're okay. But yeah, that NFC North Championship game broke them, and they went dark, and now they're back with an absolute vengeance. And I don't know. We'll see. I thought the whole thing with Justin Fields was going to break them because they went so psychotic with that. But I think Caleb caught their fall. You know what I mean? Like, they jumped into the river and Caleb caught him. Like, no. Wings on and everything. Just grabbed him and pulled him back like, I got you. And now they're flying high. We'll see, man. If Caleb puts together a couple more performances like that, we're we got to see how it goes. But point is, I don't feel bad because they talk so freaking much.
Be like a homeless dog. You know what I mean? It's like how much anger can you have towards them?
Mm-hmm.
But
lots.
And it kind of brings me to the remember when before we kind of thought Love was what he was. They're like, it's impossible to get 3 quarterbacks in a row. I'm like, well, no, you guys have gotten 0 in a row. And how many top 5 picks have you had that you wasted? And it's not like other good quarterbacks have been available when they could have C.J. Stroud. You know, I'm sure if I looked into it, they could have had other good quarterbacks. But it's just fun watching them flounder like a fish on a dock, just wheezing, knowing the end is near. And then the Lions, last night I watched them. You're in the middle of it in the podcast I'm listening to. And, you know, I wasn't that impressed. The Rams, they don't have Donald. They don't have, I think Puka Nacua ended up going out. They had like 1 receiver, and he was open every play, you know. Cooper Kupp, this guy's amazing. Coolest beard on the planet. And they had a hard time even eking out a win in home with perfect conditions, you know. And we were complaining about our field. Obviously, both teams had to play on it. It was crap, you know. I'm not going to say it wasn't an issue, but it is what it is. But, gosh, I get it. Week 1. You don't want to throw too much stuff into it, but I can laugh and stuff. And then the kicker is the Vikings with Sam Darnold looking like frickin' Joe Montana Jr. And the only reason why I know that's funny is, I expect him to look good, especially against the Giants. But he's gonna come back down to reality. You know, I just hope the Vikings fans can temper their expectations, because I think Sam Darnold, we know, you know, they are what they thought we were. We know who Sam Darnold is. He could look really good one day and then look like an absolute, you know, poopy dumpster fire. So, anyways, like I said, I'm optimistic for the season. I like a lot of stuff we did do. You know, I was really impressed with Wilson, that guy, the running back, I think. Sure. He came out and just blew some stuff open. And then obviously that's when the offensive line was kind of getting stuff together. And really, the defensive line on the Eagles, that's almost freaking, that's a beast.
Yep. So
it's like we started with the best defensive line, and we actually had pretty good rushing stats. We just got away from it for a tiny bit. But hey, go Pack go. I think they could do like a dual system with the next game. But we'll see, dual quarterbacks, but we'll see. So have a good one.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Darnold, first of all, kudos. You know, I mean, we've said, Darnold is Darnold. He's not going to just magically become an elite player after being garbage for so long on so many teams. Had a great week 1, right? No doubt about it. If you can do that again against the 49ers, we can have the conversation. Week 1 against the Giants, I'm calling it a fluke for every reason imaginable. But you pull that off again against the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm going to have to just slouch in my chair and go, dang it. Don't even dare. Although it would be funny with the whole JJ thing, because then factions would start and be like, bro, we can't abandon JJ. And it's like, oh, screw that guy. And it's like, well, we wasted a pick. We had Darnold. I don't know. At least that part will be entertaining, I guess. Probably too early for a break. What's going on?
Hey, Ryan. This is Jared, the Uber driver in Houston, Texas. It's 4:20 in the morning. Blaze it. Sorry, it's a joke I make because I have a dog named Blaze, and I just find it funny.
All right.
But I had a question with, so I realize every player affects every other player, especially, while they're on offense and defense. So, and I know from Basarki Productions on YouTube, he showed a lot of the PFF grades that, all the defensive linemen, specifically the interior defensive linemen, really had not a great day. Mm-hmm. And then one of our boys, McDuffie, had an atrocious day. And Quay Walker didn't have a great day, but he was still about average. So I realized PFF grades on everybody's individual situation, so depending on how everyone did by themselves. But because the interior of the line just really did not have a great day, on the interior of the defensive line really did not have a great day,
sure.
Does that correlate to, maybe Isaiah McDuffie not having a good day at all, and then maybe Quay is trying to help pick up what's left from McDuffie. Because I know the only bad play I remember from Quay was he went inside on the Saquon run.
Yep, we remember.
I think went for a touchdown. But yeah, he kind of read the gap wrong, or maybe Saquon read him. I don't really know, but like, does that make sense? Like, with the defensive interior doing worse, then the linebackers will therefore do worse. I know Cooper still did well, and Wilson did okay, and Walker did okay, but yeah, does the interior affects the secondary level of the defense. And so, yeah, does that make sense? I guess it's early in the morning, so I'm a little tired, but yeah, go Pack, go.
No, it does. And tomorrow is a little bit of a rip on PFF day, believe it or not. But one of the things that I think I've talked about before is it's impossible to completely isolate a player and talk about how good of a job they did. For example, if a wide receiver goes out and does the best possible job they can, but the quarterback overthrows them every single time, you can still isolate some things, but you're not going to get as good of a grade as you would if that was an accurate pass and you caught it for a touchdown, right? Just wouldn't happen. And all the stuff that you could have done after the pass that you weren't able to do because you didn't get it. Similarly, like that play with Quay, there's no doubt he got docked for playing that super terribly. However, if Kenny Clark didn't just get completely blown out of there to leave like a 10-foot space for Quay to have to figure out how to navigate, which again, he did it about as poorly as you possibly could. Looked like he tried to throw a shoulder at one of the offensive. It was completely messed up. Kenny got washed completely out of it. For some reason, Quay, I think, tried to help out the defensive lineman and throw his shoulder. It looks like he just jumped inside and just completely missed. And was like, what are you doing? It looked like he tried to throw a shoulder on an offensive lineman. The offensive lineman also slipped. So he slips. Quay tries to throw a shoulder at a guy that doesn't exist anymore. He goes flying in the wrong direction. Rather than just hitting him, bouncing back, and being ready to square up and hit the guy, he ends up swinging and missing, looking like a complete foolio, and Saquon just takes off. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it that make it way too hard to isolate a single player. So yeah, I think if the defensive line plays poorly, does that make it harder on the linebackers? Of course. I mean, if there's nowhere to go except this little tiny lane, you can shoot through that lane and just light up the running back. If there's a million different holes to run through, it's harder for you. Like another play that Quay got dunked on real bad is that Quay tried to come inside and make a play, and the running back bounced to the outside, and he was the outside guy. Well, now you just look like a jagoff. Like you went the wrong way. Well, he didn't necessarily go the wrong way. It was the right way until the running back saw him go that way and ran the other way, at which point he was unable to get to the outside. Maybe a bad decision, not necessarily the wrong way. It was a bad decision by Quay to give the running back that option to just get the heck out of there. But, yes, I guess is the answer. Can I specifically say in this instance the, lack of play from the defensive line hurt the linebacker, or, specifically that's the reason? I don't know. And the other reason why it's hard to bail out Quay or McDuffie is Edgerrin looked unbelievably good. Unbelievably good. I finally went through and looked at all the plays. Not going to talk about it tomorrow because I recorded that already, and then I watched it, and then I did this podcast. The percentage of plays in which he made an impact compared to the plays that he actually played, I've never seen anything like it. He didn't play very much. I mean, let's say he played 10 plays, 6 of them he made an impact on. I'm just making up that number, but that's basically what it felt like. Just shocking. Like usually when you watch a guy, most plays like they're there, but you don't even have an opportunity to make an impact, and it just my heart was just beaten out of my chest watching him play because his closing speed, his intelligence, he just did every single thing right. Coverage, carrying guys down the field twice. It's like they tried to pick on him with the tight ends. Nope. He was right there. Shut the play down. Next play, he jumps up, bats the pass down. Next play, he comes up, brings the defender down. Like I said, first play, special teams. They only used him for special teams, by the way, until mid-second quarter. His first several plays are all kickoffs. First kickoff of the game, he gets down there, makes the tackle. I mean, it's just like every single time he's in on a play, he's the one making the play. So maybe it was a fluke, or maybe we got ourselves an absolute freaking superstar in Edgerrin Cooper. I'm real interested to see how it goes, and I guarantee you in this next game, usually it's hard to kind of key on a person. I'm going to be looking for 56 whenever the defense is out there, because that dude, holy crap, was that impressive. Where are we at on time here? Let's take our first break. We'll come back with Jared the Uber driver, which apparently the first time you called in, I could not understand what you said. So your name on this show, just so you know, is Der Trader. DER space Trader. So there you go, Der Trader. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. U.S. Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why U.S. Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
Howdy, it's Jared again.
Hey.
Just working in the morning, had some more thoughts. So for Pedro in Brazil with the whole ban on Twitter and everything,
Yeah.
Can he use a VPN at all? I don't know what the rules on that is, but like, can he use that to access it at all? Because I know I've used a VPN a couple of times to get out of market games before. But yeah, just random question. And then this was
that is a quick. Pedro, feel free to call in. I'll give my understanding, which isn't really an understanding, just kind of things I pick up on social media, which who knows, man. But I know that there was the ban, and then there was some severe enforcement. Like if you get caught using a VPN, you are going to get fined like massively. Then I saw that they backed off of that and said, no, never mind, we're not going to do that. But then somebody else came out later and they're like, that's not true. They will still do it. So I don't know. I know some people are using a VPN to get out, but there's also talk about potentially severe consequences, but I really don't know. And even if it is a law, are they enforcing it? How strictly are they enforcing it? I have no idea. So Pedro, if you want to call in, let us know. That'd be appreciated.
just another random thought. Hopefully, no, we don't have too. I'm not going to say anything, but if we really needed an extra corner, maybe Romeo Dobbs could switch over, maybe be a two-way player. On that pick play, he just laid that defender out, so maybe there's something there. Who knows? Maybe. I'm just kidding, but go Pack, go.
Well, I'm going to assume that the answer is no. We'll leave that up to the audience to speculate. Feel free to call in and let me know, but when was the last time there was a two-way player? I know there's people that have done like different positions, but offense and defense, I don't know. Maybe it was kind of recently. I can't remember it.
Hey, Ryan, it's Craig from Indiana.
Hey.
Hey, you rock. You're the best podcaster doing any kind of podcasting. So I just wanted to give you some words of affirmation today.
Appreciate that.
I'm a little curious about Sean Clifford and how he's kind of fallen off the radar for the Packers. Yep. Last year, he was the backup. And we had Jordan, who was kind of unknown, and we didn't know about Jordan's ability to get through a season or anything else, but the Packers had enough confidence in Sean Clifford to make him the backup. He obviously last year looked pretty good in preseason. I know this preseason wasn't very good. Camp was kind of mixed, and I'm guessing that's the reason he's where he is. But just a little surprised with the situation and his knowledge, again, of the playbook and everything else, and with all the weapons, that at least he'd kind of know where people are going to be, that he might not be getting the nod. So I just wondered any thoughts you had on that. And then, having said that, though, I am excited about Malik, based on what I've been hearing and kind of seeing, that he will bring, I think, some excitement to the game. I hope that's a positive excitement. I do think it's an advantage that he is familiar with game planning for the Colts and also for the Titans, being on the Titans team, and those are the two games we got coming up. So hopefully that helps him feel more comfortable against those teams. And I just have a lot of confidence in LaFleur putting together a good game plan that takes advantage of his strengths and minimizes some of his liabilities. So I feel okay for the next couple of weeks, and hopefully Jordan can come back when we start hitting some of those rougher games. But if we could go 500, that would be awesome. It just hurts even more losing to the Eagles.
Yeah,
that's a game that was very winnable, and it'd be nice to have that under our belt going into these next few weeks without Jordan, but we don't. So hopefully we can come back and pull a few out in the next few weeks and end the season strong. All right, have a good day. Bye.
Yeah, so on tomorrow's podcast, at the very end anyways, we kind of go into I don't want to say a Malik deep dive, but a sort of let's get jacked up about Malik kind of a thing. You know, he is our quarterback. He's got some crazy athletic ability. Hasn't translated yet, but you want to talk about a guy that's got unique skill set. We got one of those on our team now, so that's going to be pretty cool. As far as Clifford, I don't know, man. I mean, it's pretty obvious why he's not starting for us. I guess the Packers still see enough in him that, they wanted to keep him over Pratt, obviously. They want to keep trying to develop him. They see more in there. And again, when we drafted him, he definitely seems much more like a raw prospect to me. A lot of stuff to work out. Talented, sure, but a lot of stuff to work out. And I guess they still see, it's like I talked about with some of the kickers and whatnot, where I'm assuming they're going to keep working with Anders, but, everybody gets to that point where maybe they've just seen enough and they realize enough is enough, and that was the case with Anders. And apparently that was the case with Pratt, shockingly enough, but not with Clifford. But the idea that he's ready to go out and play 4 quarters of an NFL football game during the regular season, I can't imagine that we're anywhere near that point. We'll see if Malik goes out and completely lays an egg. We might see Clifford halfway through this game, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's time to get excited about Malik, man. He's an athletic freak, I don't want to give away everything about tomorrow, but there were comparisons made to other sort of raw prospects, guys like Josh Allen. He was drawing comparisons to, and other person comes out and he goes, I understand kind of the Josh Allen thing, but he's more of a Lamar Jackson. There was even a semi-comparison brought up as far as Jordan Love being another one of those guys where a team took a big swing. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I mean, Jalen Hurts was a swing. Drew Lock was a swing. I mean, these are guys that real raw, and, if you plug them in today, they are going to be garbage, and they may just stay garbage, but if they can hit that potential that they have, they're going to be really talented. And, Malik's in year 3 right now, and he had a good offseason. He's always been good in the preseason. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, I guess. I don't think the Packers were expecting to push him out there this early. I think they were hoping to be able to see if they can do what they did to Jordan Love to him. But, oh well, we're here now, so... time to get behind our boy and see how he does, I think.
Hey, Ryan, it's Nate. Just wanted to call in because I was listening to your show this morning, and you were talking about Javon Bullard and how PFF didn't really like him.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, kind of pick your brain. I know PFF can be a useful tool, but, how... do you know, how they even grade these guys when technically they don't know what the play is? They can make a guess, but, they don't actually know what the player is supposed to do, what he was told to do. So I've always kind of been curious about that. If you have insights, if you've ever talked to them about, where they get these numbers from, even just a ballpark of yeah, we kind of look for this and this and this, and we make a guess at what the defensive play is. Always been curious about that. The other thing is,
before we move on, first of all, I think you're going to like tomorrow. Not that it necessarily answers your question, but just kind of unloading on PFF a little bit of my frustration with them, and not only just them in general, but the fact that I think that they're rapidly declining as a product, and they're very poorly run, and I think they're potentially going to be overtaken if they don't smarten up, which I don't think they will, because it's not really a matter of intelligence. It's a matter of the smart people are being driven out by the investors who came in and are just trying to squeeze every penny out that they can, just running this ship into the ground. Which is sad, but there are other companies starting to fill that void. So hopefully by the time they go under, if they do, they probably won't. They're too massive. They're an institution at this point, but they're just going to be kind of a freaking empty vessel. Well, actually, they might go out of business because their whole B2B model is being sunk. So just a quick insight. One of the really stupid things, and we've talked about this plenty. I've talked about it. I know JJ's kind of gone on a diatribe about it several times. The worst part about PFF is their social media presence. They deliberately go out and say stupid things because they want to be clickbaity and everything else. The problem is where they make their money is B2B, selling to like football teams. Football teams see their social media presence and say, why should we spend all this money on a product from a company full of idiots? But they want to push that side of it. They want to push the media side. Anyways, as far as the specifics of how they grade, I know I've kind of touched on it. And one of the things I mentioned tomorrow even is, their grading has even gotten dumber because they tried to mass produce it. They used to have a system. I don't know if you paid attention back in the day. I don't even know if this was back when I started the podcast. I think it might have been pre-podcast, but I used to subscribe to PFF like when it first started. And it was relatively expensive, but you paid for the subscription. You got everything. You got all the behind the scenes stuff. And they used to grade on they still do, but they translate it now. It used to just be on this like plus minus thing. And it was pretty cool. And you can kind of see all the little nuance that was in there and everything. And they changed it to the Madden model to make it more appealing. The problem with the Madden model is that the grades are much more stupid. They don't really show you things properly. They gave an example of how, J.J. Watt back in the day, you look at the gap between J.J. Watt and the next best player, it was stupid. It was like the second best defensive lineman. His grade was like plus 50. J.J. Watt was like plus 110. And then like the worst player was like negative 29. But you could see on like each individual thing, like on this game, you got like a negative 1.5 or something. It wasn't, I don't know. And beyond that, like I know they have like a 300-page, which it may have expanded. I've been saying the 300-page thing for a while. It's probably grown, but I know that they have a 300-page thing that goes into like and of course there's always going to be nuance, but like for a quarterback, and you can kind of see this more when they bring their quarterback thing out, they'll show you the diagram of like what is an on-target pass, what is a good pass, what is a, based on where exactly the football was compared to the football player. And I'm sure it's the same with things like safety. Now, there are a lot of issues. First of all, there's a massive amount. Forget the fact that they don't know the play call, right? That's a given. PFF acknowledges that. Everybody understands that that's going to be a complication for everybody trying to watch film. Even for former football players, they'll go on and break down the film, and the first thing they'll always say is, "Now, I don't know how they teach this, but let me just tell you what I think." And that's more or less all PFF is doing. They're going, "I don't know specifically what they're asking them to do, but we do have an understanding of generally how football works, and so we're going to go just based off of that." But leaving even all that aside, there's so much nuance and gray area in all these things. And then on top of that, as much as they do have oversight, there's only so much oversight you can have. You can't have, these like high-level people that have a firm understanding of things looking at everything. You've got an army of people that have to collect this data, and the more people you have, unfortunately, the lesser the ability of the people that are doing the grading. And then they pass it up the line, and I'm sure there's certain things they can check, but they're not doing the whole thing. What would be the point? So that always leaves room for a lot of error. And that's where, and I've always said this, I mean, I've been talking about AI since before AI, apparently, because I remember saying PFF's going to be replaced the day that AI can actually track these guys and then use all the data from whatever. It doesn't matter, but human error is so built into this because you just have like hundreds or even thousands of people at PFF that are just like hand recording every single thing that happens. So, look, do I think they were wrong about Javon Bullard? Not necessarily when you think about how their grades are. When I look at Javon Bullard, I just think it's more of okay, now I understand how they came to that grade. Because if he was pretty average to decent, like let's say he was like a 69, 72 kind of range, but he had 3 plays where it was like, oh, that was freaking brutal. Like, you just ran right past a guy and gave up a touchdown. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to plummet you. But at the same time, having watched it, even though I'm not going to say I'm positive that the grade shouldn't be that, because I'm sure if I went through, I could see how I could go through and go, okay, yeah, I guess, if I graded based on your system, I'd come to the same conclusion. But it's hard to know exactly how we got here. Was it just because you were bad on every single play? And I think maybe that's what we think is when you see a 49, you assume each snap is like a 49 and you just suck overall. When in some cases, it might just be you had a good day. Almost every, out of 60 snaps or whatever it is, 40 of them were average to whatever, right? You had no impact, or you did seemingly what you were supposed to do, but whatever. And, 13 of them were actually quite good. Like, dang, that was well done. Nice tackle, good read. And 7 of them were, oh my Lord, you shouldn't be playing NFL football. That's also why, for example, I'll look at the pass rush grades compared to the pass rush stats and just shrug my shoulders at the grades because, bro, I'm asking you to get to the quarterback. If you can get there 13% of the time and pull off a sack, you had an elite day. It's like, yeah, but did you see all those other ones where he looked real bad? I kind of don't care, bro. Like, not getting in there is not getting there. I know you're going to lose most of the time. That's how that works. I get it. And I'm sure that, there are times where you can absolutely whoop the guy across from you every single time. You just don't get home every single time. And so then you get really good grades. But whatever, dude. If you're on pace with like Bosa, I really don't care. I don't care about the nuance or whatever. So do I think that they got it wrong about him? Not really. I just think that the assumption being made about the grade that's being presented is not necessarily correct. And the assumption is he just had a terrible day. When in reality, he had a decently positive day, especially for a rookie on his first game, with like 2 to 3, that was brutal type plays. And you feel better about it having watched it because you feel that those are things that can easily be cleaned up. Like that flyby on the guy that Jair was covering, I'm assuming is never going to happen again. That was one where he's going to get absolutely screamed at for whatever it is he thought he was doing. Now, if I were to, give a grade off the top of my head, would it be a 49 or whatever? Absolutely not. No. If I'm trying to project to you how I feel he did in that game, would I say 49? No. But I've also said I've tried to come up with grading scales, and I don't even know how to do it. I really don't. I think kind of going back to the old PFF model is a good thing, where you just have like minor pluses and minuses, and I do think he had significantly more pluses than minuses, and I think he would come out with a better than 0 grade is the way I would put it. And again, I just watched the coverage and not the run defense, but PFF didn't even say he had bad. They liked his run defense. They just didn't like his coverage, and I really think it's because, like a bad player, 2. And again, even some of them I'm looking at going, I'm not even going to dock him for that. The one where he's covering a guy coming across the middle and A.J. Brown jumps in front of him, I'm positive PFF docked him for that. I'm not doing it. So I don't know specifically. Let me give you a quick overview of what the robot has to say. PFF employs over 600 analysts with a select group of highly trained senior analysts responsible for the final grades. The grading process involves evaluating every player on every play of every game, using a scale from -2 to +2 in 0.5 increments, reviewing each grade multiple times, using all available camera angles, including all 22 coaches' tape. The raw grades are converted from a 0 to 100 scale for easier interpretation. That's where they went to the Madden scale. 90 to 100 is to elite. Is elite, 85 to 89 is Pro Bowler, 70 to 84 is starter, 60 to 69 is backup, 0 to 59 is replacement. I've never even used that terminology. I have my own, but there you go. Position-specific grading. Quarterbacks are graded on throw quality, decision-making, and ability to avoid negative plays. Receivers are evaluated on route running, catching ability, and yards after the catch. Offensive linemen are assessed on pass protection and run blocking. Defensive players are graded on their ability to stop the run, rush the passer, and cover receivers, obviously. PFF grades take into account the quality of the play, not just the outcome, the difficulty of the assignment, consistency over the course of a season. A player's season grade is not simply an average of their game's grades, but considers the entire body of work, including snap counts and performance consistency. I think that's about it. It goes on limitations and criticisms. While PFF grades are widely used in the NFL, they have faced some criticism, subjectivity in the grading process, lack of knowledge about specific play calls or assignments, potential for bias or inconsistency among graders. Despite the limitations, PFF grades are considered more predictive of future performance than traditional statistics like passer rating or yards per carry. And that's the other thing I keep coming back to. As much as people can hate on it, there is math that you can apply to this that says that PFF is still one of the better metrics you can use. There are better ones, but PFF is always up there. So, but yeah, sometimes you just watch it and you say whatever, they can say whatever they want. I'm okay with what they did. And maybe I'm wrong. That's entirely possible. I don't know. But he had some brutal plays, but again, out of an entire game to only mess up twice, I don't know. I think I'm okay with it. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back and hear from Uncle Rico.
Yo, Brian, it's your Uncle Rico.
What's up?
Hey, buddy. Just my thoughts on the preseason. Yeah, it'd be nice if we came out clicking in all cylinders, just ready to roll. But I don't know how you're supposed to figure out your team if you play your starters in the preseason, because we already know they're starters except for the ones that aren't starters, and then we got to figure out what they're good for. And the only way to figure that out is to play them in preseason. So, yeah, I get it. Preseason games are boring, but they're super necessary if you want to have a good team. Otherwise, you're just a guessing game. You don't know what players are good for if you don't watch them play. So that's my thoughts. And yes,
Agreed.
Also, who cares? Not who cares, but what's more important? If you're winning at the end of the season or winning in the beginning of the season, it's kind of important to win games, but far more important to win them at the end. So, got to get your take preseason to figure out which players have potential. It's a necessity, and by the end of the season, those players hopefully will pay off. All right, go out. Jordan's gonna be back, whether it's 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We'll survive as long as after that he stays on the field. And those are just things that I don't know. Some people just assume that he'll be on the field every game for every play after he comes back, type of thing. Like, we got to get him back. Well, kind of got to get him back healthy. It is what it is. And that's why we got to have a decent backup. And I know you're always like, the season's over if Jordan's out. It's done. It doesn't matter. Well, I don't really have that mindset. We got to find ways to win without him. It might be ugly as heck, but we got to get it done. At least half the games that Jordan Love doesn't play, we need to try to win, of course, every game. But we gotta think that we could win half those games. Otherwise, we don't have the right team. We don't have the right backup. If we can't count them to win any games, what's the point? We might as well just stay home. So we gotta have a backup that is at least serviceable and not complete, you know what I mean. Anyways, Rico out. Go back, go.
Yeah, because he's only out for a period of time, and again, tomorrow's podcast, I'll kind of give some insights into why I'm a little bit pessimistic again. It's just how I do. But the heck was I talking about? Oh, if he was out for the year, we would just be very much in disagreement about the season's over. I understand they're still going to try, but they're going to fail. That's the point. I'm sorry. And, it's like, well, then we got the wrong backup. It's like, well, not necessarily. There just isn't one, there isn't a right backup. They might have the wrong backup, but there is no right backup, and that's an issue. But yeah, fortunately, we don't really have to worry about that because, maximum is seemingly like 6 weeks. So hopefully he'll be back within 6 weeks. Obviously, we're all hoping for as soon as is possible. We'll see how it goes. In the meantime, you're trying to sneak out a win. You're trying to get that lucky thing here and there. If it was for the season, again, it's just, I don't know. I mean, you can be as optimistic as you want. Do whatever you want to do. Fan how you want to fan, but it's just freaking over. And I'm glad that he's not out for the season so that I don't have to sit here and either lie or just come on here every day and go, yeah, season's freaking over, bro. What are we even doing in life?
Yo, Ryan, it's your uncle, Rico.
Yo.
I'm just a little frustrated with some of the Packer fans who freak out. Settle down, for gosh sakes. Yeah, I'm a gootlicker. So what? Get over it. I mean, if you're not a gootlicker, you're not a Packer fan. Clearly, you haven't.
You're not cool if you don't pee your pants.
His talents or whatever. I mean, obviously, he knows what he's doing. He gets the players to put us in a position to win. You know, I mean, I just love all these people who think they know better. Like, oh, what's this guy and that guy? You know, even the Pratt thing. I don't understand the Pratt thing, but I'm not Goody. He knows what he's doing. And the Willis thing, it doesn't really all add up to me, but I'm not Goody. I guess I have to trust that he knows what he's doing. Because, he's proved to us that he knows what he's doing. So all the people that are freaking out, RELAX, all right then, it'll work out. I don't know why it wouldn't. Well, until Goody proves he doesn't know what he's doing, until LaFleur, I'm not always the biggest LaFleur fan. Some of the calls and stuff don't make sense to me, but I'm not a freaking. I coached flag football, but I wasn't even any good at that, right? So, yeah, these guys know what they're doing. They've proven to us they know what they're doing. So let's let them do their thing, and we can question them, but quit freaking out. Don't go postal. All right, then. Go Pack Go. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be better than great. Rico out.
Yeah, and I think we've kind of brought it back to center a little bit as far as the panic. Maybe not. I don't know. You run it in different circles than I am, but the podcast hasn't been overly negative since we found out he's going to be back. I don't even want to put a timeline on it, but not season ending, not like 8 weeks or anything like that. I think that's kind of helped people RELAX, but. Who knows, man? People still can find a reason to go crazy if they feel like it.
Hey, Ryan. Trevor in Virginia calling again.
Hey.
I don't understand people who just think with Jordan out, we're just going to lose every game. I mean, I get it. It definitely hurts. It's not good. The team was definitely sloppy this week, but, we were also playing the Eagles. We weren't playing this slouch team. I don't know. I'm not one that thinks the Eagles are going to be bad this year. I think they're still a playoff team. We have much easier games coming up. And, the Packers know firsthand how many backup quarterbacks did we lose to last year. We lost to the no, sorry, I apologize. Right?
Come on, I gotta go back and edit the freaking thing now. Dang it. All right, continue.
With that. But we lost to the Giants guy, the Italian guy last year. And, how many, it was several last year, just for us alone. These backups come in. And they bring a little spice and win a couple. Obviously, it ends up being the whole season, which obviously it's not at this point, but it's a different story for a backup. But when backups have come in for, 2 to 4 weeks, they typically win some games. So, I don't know. Like I said, it's a pretty soft part of the schedule here, and I don't see any reason we can't. If Love's out the next 2 weeks, I think we'll split at least at worst. So, I don't know. If Malik Willis really looks terrible, put Clifford in there. He's going to throw some picks, but at least he's going to be slinging it. And, I think there'll be some good there too. So, Definitely need the defense to step up, but I think they will. I think they showed flashes of good. Just need to clean it up. I'm not on the doom and gloom train right now, so with the news we have of it being not a severe injury. So anyway, go Paco.
Well, look, he started 3 games for Tennessee. He went 1-2. So if Jordan's out for 3 weeks, maybe we win one. You know what I mean? There's reason to believe that could be a thing. Who knows? Could even win 2. I don't know. Should we just finish these out? Let's go with Trevor. Maybe we'll just leave the last one. Trevor, close us out, dude.
Hey, Ryan, Trevor in Virginia. I promise this is going to be my last call this week for this week's game, but I think we need to stop saying that Sam Darnold is a bad quarterback.
Oh, don't. Trevor. Sam Darnold's been a bad quarterback for 3 years. He had 1 good game, and you're going to jump on the Vikings bandwagon? I
was telling everybody before the season started, I never called it here with it, but I was telling everybody, I think Sam Darnold's going to have a very good year.
Goodness.
Kevin O'Connell's a quarterback whisperer in his own right. He's got very good quarterback play.
How many bad quarterbacks have gone through there? Come on. They've had 1 good quarterback, and it's Kirk Cousins, and he's gone. Don't lose me, Trevor.
Out of a rotation of quarterbacks there in Minnesota. And Sam Darnold got put in the worst situation of football, second to the Bears, which is the Jets. The Jets and Bears just know how to get first-round quarterbacks and just destroy them because they don't give them room to grow and to become.
For the record, he played for the San Francisco 49ers last year, all right? So it's not like he's just been with the Jets since forever.
Good quarterback. So I think he's set up in the best situation he's ever had this year, and I don't see any reason.
No, 49ers are better last year.
He can't do what Baker Mayfield did last year in the Bucks, and seems like he might be doing it again this year. Resurgence, and I guess for him it won't be a resurgence because he's never been good, really, and I understand that, but I just think he's set up well now. I think he's going to do very good. I would, there's a betting line on it anywhere right now. I would bet money down that he will be a top 12 quarterback at the end of the year. Like I said, I know he's not an elite quarterback. That's not what I'm saying by any means, but he is a good enough quarterback that in a good system, he can have a good year, and I think that's what's going to happen. So, I'm very much more worried about the division now. The Bears, I'm not worried about, but the Lions, the Vikings, either one could end with a better record than us, especially if Love misses through that Vikings game. So, anyway, go Pack.
All right. The guy played the worst defense in the entire NFL and had a good game. All right. Let's go through a couple things here because he's been, 3 years? He's been bad for 1, 2, 3, 4. He's been bad for 6 years. 6. I can't believe it's been that long. I feel like he came into the league not that long ago. 3 years with the Jets, 2 years with Carolina, and a year with San Francisco. His highest PFF grade was last year with San Francisco, 66, which has been consistently what he's been his entire career. But that doesn't mean he hasn't had really good games. Let's go through a few of these. 2018, his rookie year with the Jets, he had an 87 grade against Indy, week 6. He had a 90 grade against Houston, week 15, and then week 16 against the Green Bay Packers, 88.7. He threw for 341 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Packers in that game. 2019, he had an 83 PFF grade against Oakland, 315 yards and 2 touchdowns. In 2020, he had an 86 grade week 2 against the San Francisco 49ers and an 80 PFF grade against LA in week 15. In 2021, he had an 83 against Houston and 85 against Atlanta. By the way, why doesn't he have better grades? Let me explain to you how this works. Starting in week 4, his grades 50, 40, 50, 40, 80, 40, 50, 40, 40. There you go. 2022, he actually probably had one of his better years as far as not just having garbage games. He just didn't have any 80s. It was 70, 60, 70, 70, 50, 30. And then in 2023, 60, 50, 60, 50, 40, 70. So he hasn't had a game like this since 2021, but he's had 80s before. He's had games, honestly, better than this. What did I say, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks? This game was 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. This is not the first time he's had a really good game. The problem is he's had so many games where he's just absolutely awful. Now, if that's just somehow magically gone, that's crazy. But also, if he continues doing what he did for the Giants, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. So the point is, he's going to regress. If he regresses back to what he's always been, he's the same guy. The only way he's a revamped quarterback is if he regresses down to something that's kind of decent and has more of these, you know what I mean? Like no 40s, no 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s for the rest of the season. Then he's a good quarterback. But he's had games like this before. He's never been able to sustain it. Like I said, when he's not playing maybe the worst team in the entire NFL, and he does this to the 49ers, we can come back here and have this conversation of, holy crap, could the impossible be happening? A guy in year 7 finally figuring out how to play football. Could that actually be happening here? Until that, I'm not entertaining it. I'm not doing it. I'm not playing that stupid game. Vikings fans, feel free. You can do a victory lap. You won the game. Darnold looked good. Go ahead. You've been pumping the guy up, and you're 1-0 with Darnold, with your Darnold prediction. So go ahead and take the victory lap for a week. But I think the 49ers are going to make him look like a freaking jagoff. We'll see, though. I'm going to leave it at that. We got one call left. So, Ron, we'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm going to get up out of here, though. And that's it. Talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.